What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Refinement. My name is Chris. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have the honor of speaking with Sarah Stiles, LLC. We have a very cool episode. We're going to talk about how she went from $2,000 a month only on Poshmark to $10,000 a month on eBay and Poshmark over the last 6 months. And we want to really encourage people to understand this is not a linear path. There was a couple of months in there where Sarah didn't have much time to work on reselling at all. And that's maybe part of the process. Everyone's journey is different, but thank you so much for stopping by. Before we get into the content, why don't we tell people where they can find you?
What's up, guys? I am Sarah from Sarah Stiles. It is Sarah Stiles LLC everywhere on all platforms, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Etsy. I have my own website, www.sarahstilesllc.com. And I just want to touch too. So this was all, I'm a mom of 3 kids. So this was all while I was trying to manage kids during a pandemic as well. So limited, under 20 hours a week.
So first off, when you reached out to me, or when I reached out to you originally looking for somebody to mentor, you were only doing Poshmark. What inspired you to want to add eBay on top of that?
Yeah, well, so when I reached out to you, I was on eBay. Technically, I had probably about half my listings on eBay. I was making I think 10 sales a month on eBay. I didn't know what I was doing. I was in the process of learning eBay. So I think that was part of why I reached out to you, because you know eBay. And that's really how I saw the growth coming. When I look at most resellers that are, full-time or making kind of the amount that I thought that I wanted to make, most of them are on eBay. And I kind of felt like I had plateaued on Poshmark. I'd done as much as I knew how to do on Poshmark that I needed to take it up a notch.
You went from 10 sales to 180 sales this last month?
Yeah. 14 when we started, I did 14 sales in April on eBay. And then I ended October with 186 sales on eBay, just on eBay.
That's amazing. So this is actually a 2-part series, guys. We're going to talk about things that help Sarah be successful on her channel as well. So I'll put that in the description below. You can head over and look at part 2 of this conversation. But I want to mention this in both conversations, which is you really understand your numbers. So I like to tell people that clear is better than big. If you actually know what's going on, you kept it small right in the beginning. You weren't afraid of keeping it small. You were always questioning, am I really making any profit? Let's look at the numbers. In the beginning, because you had a new eBay account, we were spending a lot of money on promoted listings, and you were kind of giving your items away, and you had free shipping just to try to get up the algorithm. And then now you've evened out and you don't have to give your items away anymore. It was just a temporary penalty to get started.
Yes, right. And it was very scary. You talked about this during the process on my channel as well, but it was scary. I was a new-ish account. I think when we started, I had like 30 feedbacks or something. And I wasn't new to reselling, so my photos were good, my SEOs were fine, all of that. It was just kind of getting the eBay gods on my side to be able to step it up. And we really did. Like you said, I did all the things to make sales those first couple months.
So let's talk about why you even know what your numbers are. I know you keep track on a spreadsheet and you have your own dashboards. What inspired you to even create those? And you're welcome to share those. I'll give you sharing ability right now. But why even track stuff like that? Why did you come up with that?
Yeah, so my background is in data analytics. I've been upcycling off and on my entire life. I went to school to be a math teacher, so I have a degree in mathematics. I worked in corporate America doing data analytics, statistical modeling, forecasting before I stayed home. And so I feel very comfortable. I feel comfort in numbers. They're going to tell me, what's going on. And so when I started on Poshmark. They don't have any numbers. So I did start, built 2 dashboards. I built spreadsheets for myself. And then other resellers were like, how do you know this? And I'm like, oh, you don't know how to use spreadsheets too? So then I built products for other people. And then what I'll share with you guys right now, what really I use more now because it's mainly eBay. This is the Sarah Stiles Sales and Trends dashboard. And these are for sale, a one-time fee. They're in Google Sheets, so you don't have to have Excel. but I track all of my data. When something gets listed, it goes in here. When something sells, it goes in here. But then it allows me to look at my numbers, how I'm trending compared to the previous period. You can see here, this is when I started with Chris. I'm at $2,000, and then over, it's not linear. We did have some stepping points there, like Chris mentioned, up to $10,000, but then really digging in and looking at categories that are working for me, brands that are working for me, platform split outs, as well as sourcing spots. I had to, in working with Chris, I went outside of my comfort zone in working and looking at different places, not just thrift stores and bins. And these numbers led me to say, hey, this is worth my time. I'm going to continue to do this sourcing and not that sourcing anymore.
This is so great because, as you guys know, like behind me, I'm learning how to do, in the men's lots that I buy, oftentimes they come coupled with women's stuff. So if Sarah can give me a list of stuff that sells well for her, it's easier for me to put together boxes for her. And then I can order larger quantities, and then I can get better stuff. And overall, it's a win for everyone. So it's really difficult when someone's like, I'll take all the Lululemon. And I'm like, okay, so will I. That's like not too difficult.
Yes, right. Who won't?
A lot of stuff, like there's a lot of different brands and people that really understand which brands sell well for them, what sizes do well for them, what their process looks like. There's some people that are like, I'm okay even buying Merona if it's plus size in these specific styles. That makes it easier because we don't know necessarily what is going to come in the mix. But your dashboard is really cool because you know what categories, you know what sizes, and this channel is all about steadily improving and slowly growing. So this is my favorite part of the conversation. We did not touch, or I want to talk about time management because you do a lot of things. Where do you even fit reselling in? How do you do this?
Yeah, so as mentioned, I'm a mom of 3. The kids are remote learning. My oldest is special needs. He's in high school, so he is hybrid 2 days a week. So at home 3 days. And then I have a 3 and a 5-year-old that I am teaching, remote learning with them. So it has been a struggle. What I have found during this process is finding things that I can do with kids. When we first started the process, it was like, how many hours can you do this? Can you do that? And there were some things that I was like, well, it would only take me 4 hours if I had 4 hours without kids to do it, but that's not. I get about 6 hours a week kid free to do it. So it was finding things and then outsourcing when I couldn't, right? So outsourcing listing, because that's really hard to do with kids. So then all I'm doing right now is inventory, right? So I'm finding sourcing, but it's coming to me now, which I think is a big thing. That was hard in the beginning to figure out what was working, and just find ways to get it to come to me. But now that kind of takes some of the pressure off. I can do that with the kids. They go to bed, they have nap time. They don't nap, but they have quiet time in the afternoon, or they're eating lunch. Those that I can do with the kids, getting it to me. I was before going out and sourcing, and I couldn't take them with me. So that was, one thing, trying to find ways to do it with the kids, and then streamlining my processes. I take photos with the kids. It's usually 2 or 3 days a week, for about an hour or 2. Once the day is done, or they've kind of crammed enough schoolwork in that they need a break, because they're 3 and 5, so they can't do school for 8 hours a day at home. So we spend a couple hours in the morning doing school, and then I'll take photos, listening for them. So sometimes I get, an hour straight of photos, and sometimes it's every 10 minutes they're fighting. And then shipping. I ship every day. It takes me under 3 minutes an item to ship and update the dashboard. And I usually do that at lunch every single day. Oftentimes the kids are down there helping me. They know I'm teaching my 3-year-old numbers, right? Okay, can you find number, 572, new number sold? Can you go find it? They help put the stickers on and everything. So I really have figured out how to manage it with them. And then Saturday mornings, I do about 4 hours of work to myself. But right now I'm doing that more on other parts of my business, not the selling parts.
I love that we mentioned on the other call that you pick up little tips on how to run your store as a whole. Like as an example, on Poshmark, you have to send an offer or do different things one item at a time. On eBay, you can streamline it. You can do a sale on your entire store. You can send offers to workers on the entire thing. You can do things in bulk, even shipping. So when I first learned Poshmark, I made a bot that basically opened up my email, scrolled to the bottom, opened up the Poshmark label, printed the label, then deleted the label because the labels were like taking up space on my hard drive. And there was like 8 steps involved with one label. And you had mentioned with bulk shipping on eBay, you can print all 20 labels at the same time, which is huge.
It's definitely made a huge difference. And I think being able to level up on eBay has allowed me to do more in less time, because shipping can take less time. As I'm figuring out eBay, you're like, hey, try free shipping. Okay, cool. Bulk edit, free shipping. It takes me, in the beginning, it took me, 10 minutes to figure it out because I didn't know how to do it. But just trying different things and changing it all. And eBay has the analytics there to tell me too, like, I tried this strategy and okay, that didn't work for me. I'm going to quit wasting my time on it.
And another thing that I love is we talked about, because over the last 6 months, your Poshmark sales have remained similar. They've been around 2,000 every single month, even though your closet has grown.
Yeah.
So
yeah, oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, I have had a similar experience where your closet grows, but your sales don't grow because you're not getting the sharing volume in per item.
Yeah, and as you have more items, you're getting more likes, but you can't send out offers as much. And Poshmark is a social app, right? They want you on there all the time. And when you have 100 items, okay, I could be on there more often, and now I can't. And so I've actually, during this process, as eBay has picked up, and that could also be why maybe it's flat a little bit, I'm spending less time on Poshmark. I'm not going in there and doing some of the things that I would to trigger the algorithm, because I'm like, should I spend 30 minutes on Poshmark or 30 minutes trying some things or getting some listings done, or spending my time a bit wiser on things that are making more money? And for me, as I've grown on eBay, it's wiser to spend some time on eBay or other parts of my business.
Yeah, that is so fascinating, because I think to myself, I think the best use of time for people who have under 40 hours would be eBay only, because you only have so little time to get as much money as possible, and you could just keep listing, and theoretically it's list it and forget it if you do it right. Versus some people cross list on 4 platforms with 15 hours, and then you're only listing 10 items a week and you're not really getting the volume. And you are very impressive because you were getting the volume in, but you knew, you had awareness. You were like, I can't remember which month it was where you knew already the sales were going to be lower because you didn't have the time.
Yeah, when we first started too, part of it was, the pandemic. We were also moving. But I think something that you touched on too, because I was big into Poshmark when we first started, I still like Poshmark. eBay is scary and hard until you figure it out. But the thing with eBay too is you have to be consistent. Where Poshmark, if you go a week, and I think like side hustle, or even people that can't be consistent or find ways, get a lister or ways to be consistent, you don't get dinged on Poshmark if you don't do something for a couple of days, right? Like, you cannot do something for a week and pick it right back up and boom, you'll get sales again. Where eBay, if you're not consistently performing, not even just listing, but consistently shipping and consistently getting good feedback and all of the things. And so I think that is a little bit more intimidating for people who can't necessarily commit. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's it's a challenge when you're just getting started, because Poshmark is the easiest platform to list. There's a lot of things to it, but I love that, because we're gonna sort of segue into what you're gonna do next. And I cheated when I picked you because I already had a feeling that you were gonna be good at this. And now you want to add stuff like YouTube and other streams of income in, and it's a similar thing. You're gonna have to do things with your channel that you don't know if they're going to work yet, and just have to trust that that's going to bring in new audience. And then you also, like, I'm doing this new partnership with Tech and Sports, and he has a saying that you need to have 20,000 hooks in the ocean. And I feel like that's what you're doing. You have digital products, you have physical products, you also have AdSense. There's different streams that are growing. But it's going to, in the future, 5 years from now, it's going to be unlikely that you have a bad day on all these different platforms. And you also mentioned, and I'll let you get into this yourself, but maybe at a certain point you cap reselling.
Yeah. And what's kind of interesting to what you said, because when we first started, you were like, well, what's your goal? What's your goal? And I think it maybe frustrated you a little bit because I don't have like a long-term goal. I put my hooks everywhere. I mean, I have a long-term goal, but if reselling wasn't continuing to grow and kind of capped out, then I would spend my time. I looked at my numbers. What is going to make me the most money in the least amount of time? And segueing into where I'm going with reselling, I have digital products. I have the dashboards. I'm about to finish 2 courses about how to look at your numbers, because if you know how to analyze and look at your numbers, your possibilities are endless. I'm not going to teach you how to list on eBay because there's information out there, but if I can teach you how to look at your numbers, you can do whatever you want with that information. So I have these courses, and then one of the things is figuring out how to spend your time and where is it worth spending your time. And for me right now, digital products, growing my YouTube seems to be a better use of my time. I'm not stopping reselling by any means, because I am a reseller. That's what my YouTube is about, what the dashboards are about, and I do enjoy it. But I think this 10K level, give or take the given month and what happens with the economy, I think I'm kind of capped out. I'm not in growth mode anymore. I'm kind of in maintenance mode. I feel like I would not be able to grow anymore. I've done the most with my time, streamlining processes with Chris's help, getting resources to help with things I didn't want to do or weren't worth my time. So I think without stepping up a next level and getting someone to maybe do my shipping for me or other aspects of the business, I think my time is about as maxed out as I can in those 10 to 15 hours a week that I can, so I can spend time on other aspects of the business.
Okay, I want you to also realize this. I was at 5,000 listings for a long time, and I was cruising. I was like learning YouTube, I was learning other stuff. And then because I know how to do 5,000, I just went to 10,000, and I barely even noticed because I already knew what it was. So it's really cool. You can cruise, and then that's why I think you're a powerful lady, because you have the clarity. If I were to say, what would it take to double it? If you want, you would know.
Yeah.
You would know what to do. And that confidence you can transfer to anything.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting that you say this, because when we've talked about, you call it the reseller nirvana, is that right? Where you're shipping in. And so this is, some months I didn't quite have this, but one of the things in the dashboard too, it shows you how much you've listed and how much you've sold. And I've listed 272 items. I sold 280. I've gotten to the point on Poshmark and eBay where I know, like you said, I know what to do. If I want to bake more, or if I want to sell more items, I just list more items. So one thing I am going to be doing with reselling moving forward to maintain this level, I've been noticing average sale price with everything that's going on in the world is kind of trending downwards. I also, the last lot that I got, I've been purchasing some liquidation. The items were lower than my normal average sale price. So to maintain that $10,000-ish, I'm going to be listing more, because if I'm selling lower price items, I need to list more so that I can push more out the door. So I am going to be listing a little bit more to kind of maintain that. But I have processes now that it doesn't take me that long to do another 10 or 20 photos a week, right?
Usually when you double your store, it does not take twice as much time. It sounds like it does, but it doesn't. You get more efficient, you get economies of scale. And I've noticed that in the beginning, when you grow your store, your prices will drop. But then, because eBay is not used to the additional items in your store, so in order to get that traffic to match up, you've got to lower your price. Maybe offer free shipping for a minute, but once you get to a different level, I have never charged more than now. I cannot believe the prices that I'm getting because the traffic is so high. But in that growing phase from 5 to 10,000 listings, it was kind of cheap selling until I got there. And now the traffic, because you need double the traffic. And eBay is not going to trust you with double the traffic in the beginning because they don't know how long. Maybe you just went on a tear and were listening you just had a weekend by yourself or something. So once you
Yeah.
show that consistency, it'll be big. So moving forward, I assume you don't want to add more time. Are you reallocating your time? Are you hiring somebody else? What's next?
Yeah, so reselling, I mean, I'm going to be listing a few more items just because the stuff that I got is lower average sale price, but I don't see that taking more than maybe an hour extra a week. Because I mean, I'm not talking a ton of items, maybe 50 to 75 extra a month. And also to maintain that. But so I think reselling, I'm gonna kind of keep it maintenance mode. I was hardcore growth mode. I love what you touched on because it's very true. If you're new to reselling or you're just getting on eBay, it's hard to trust the process. I was go back and watch some of my videos on my channel working with Chris. I was definitely like, oh my God, why are you telling me to give away my stuff? But it's a long-term game, right? You talked about it and I trusted the process. I gave stuff away. I got the algorithm on my side for this long-term gain, and it's worth it because now I'm at this maintenance mode in 10 15 hours a week, and I can focus on other aspects. I was a speaker at PoshFest, or was it last month? And I reached a new audience. Like I have a YouTube channel and it's growing very slowly, but speaking at PoshFest, I reached a new audience and made me realize I went to school to be a teacher and how much I really do enjoy teaching, showing people that you can do this if you know how to look at your numbers. There's not an easy trick to it. And so if you're watching YouTube videos that are like, hey, do this one easy trick, if you don't know how to figure out if that trick works, it's not going to work, right? Like you need to be able to look at your numbers to be able to get to where you want to go. So I'm working on courses. I'm going to really focus on YouTube. I contemplated with reaching out and doing another platform, maybe go to Mercari or one of the other platforms in reselling. But I think the next platform I'm going to conquer is going to be YouTube. I've had a YouTube channel. I've kind of just been doing videos. I'm not really paying attention to how I'm doing it, what I'm doing it, and learning it. So I'm going to focus on teaching, numbers, maybe some more digital products, maybe some courses to teach people, but really conquering YouTube and figuring out how that algorithm works, the analytics behind that as well.
I really, when you first started, I was like, why are you so impatient? And this is why, because you were literally moving. This room was empty. When we first talked, there was nothing in there. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be doing this homeschooling thing, you're moving. You can't grow like that during this time. And I love it because you just get, because I was thinking the market doesn't care that you're moving, Sarah. They don't know what's going on in your personal life, but you just did it. You were consistent. You had help. You consistently photographed, and I love it. I love that you were able to do it during this time, and you moved, and you had to learn how to homeschool. I mean, that's very inspiring.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I mean, yes, I think the week that we started, I filmed from here and there was like inventory on the floor. We were in the middle of a move when everything had been shut down. So we couldn't even have movers come help us or anyone to watch our kids because the world was shut down. It was wild. But I think, and this kind of goes into, I think, hopefully moving into the future, we've been doing a mentorship, mentoring each other. But I think something that I like to do in the future too is some collabs and taking some of your big ideas. They can be very intimidating, I find, for some, small, like I'm an itty bitty reseller compared to you. And watching those mastermind calls or some of your videos seems very, I don't want to say intimidating because I think you're very nice. You're not intimidating. It's just some of the ideas are out of my reach, right? They seem kind of out of reach. And so I think doing some collabs moving forward with, here's one of Chris's ideas. How can you do this as, for me, a mom, or how can you do this with only, 30 minutes a day, not necessarily 18 hours a day like Chris has with no children, right? So I think being able to show people how that they can do this, you don't have to, you can do it. Anyone can do it. You just have to be able to manage it into your time and want to.
I love that your life balance because it's a lot. You're doing so much, and also I love the constraint of I have 15 hours to do reselling, and then if you have that, then you actually beat yourself up less because you're like, that's all I can do during that time. And it's almost better than people who have all day because they don't have these constraints. When you know you got to take someone to practice, or you've got to make dinner, or you only have this time, you're just so much more on it. And I found that pretty much every project I've given to a busy parent, it gets done. So they figure out a way to do it, and that's the ultimate difficulty is not being able to concentrate for long periods of time. And you've been able to work through that with, I think you only have 6 hours of kid free time.
Yes. And so I will say this, my husband is very supportive. So I could have every evening, every weekend if I wanted it to, but I want to see my family. I want to see my kids. And that is something too, I think in the beginning, life was crazy in the beginning. So if you watch some of the videos in the beginning, I was probably a hot mess. But something that you also, honed in on too is like, work-life balance. How can you meet your goals and still be able to see your family and see your kids? So I do really limit, to, no, it's probably like 1 hour each, 1 hour, 1 hour a weekday. And it's usually like a YouTube video, like we're filming this when my husband's off work, and then Saturday morning so that I can have time with the kids. So I really do, I do want to thank you because it was a pandemic and it was crazy anyway, but I was really at the breaking point of I want to go to the next level. I want to step this up, but I don't know how to do it because I maxed out on my time. Right.
One thing that I think is important to recognize is like I have really high financial goals, and I know it will take longer because I do a lot of the fun stuff. I feel like I had FOMO when I got a car. I was like, there's so many things in the world I want to do. But then if you read a success book, they say focus on one thing till you're really, really good at it. And I know that because I'm doing lots of things, like I've gone to 80 vacations with my wife. That's a lot, right? If I had spent all that time working, I'd probably be beyond my financial goal already. But I'm okay with it taking longer. I'm okay with hiring people, making a smaller profit, because I know that I'm not going to get this time back. I'm not going to wish I worked more, and it's okay. Like, I really like this advice from Marie Forleo. She calls it being multi-passionate. When you're multi-passionate and you have a YouTube channel and a Poshmark closet and an eBay store, you're guaranteed to take longer than someone that just does one thing, right? I know 7-figure Poshmark only. I know 7-figure only eBay. That's the fastest way, but that's not multi-passionate. So I don't want people to beat themselves up because it's taking longer, because that's the new world is 7 different jobs cobbled together and you're an entrepreneur. It used to be you're an entrepreneur means you own a pizza parlor.
Yeah.
You own one thing. And now it's everything. And you also run a household. So kudos to you for putting that all together. I'm proud of you because that's the new future. Everyone does everything.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And I think too, I mean, you touched on doing all kinds of different things, and I did have to kind of hone in. I think you said at one point too, if you're doing too many platforms, it's hard to figure out and learn it. And so when we did first start working together, I was on a couple other platforms as well. And I was like, okay, I'm going to stop those. I'm going to figure out eBay. And once I get eBay going, then maybe I can venture out into something else. And so I do have my hands in different places, but I think really mastering one before you move on to the other. And that's kind of where I'm going. I'm in YouTube, but I've never actually I even have a YouTube account before I started a YouTube channel. Like, I'm not someone who knows YouTube. I don't know anything about it. So I'm going to kind of focus and figure out. But I think you mentioned at one point too, YouTube just another reselling platform. It's an algorithm. It's, trying to figure out how to reach people. So I think that, I don't know, I'm excited for it.
You're very customer driven, which comes with being a teacher as well. You're focused on, like, I feel like I would be a good teacher for kids as well, because I'm interested in if it works or not. Like, do you like this? The content is the same thing as a SKU. Does it perform well? Do people not, is there no traffic because it's boring? And then the great content is evergreen. It can last forever, right? So as and as we move towards replenishable products, as we move towards, when you sell one-off items, that's the hardest way to do it. And you learn quickly what does well and what doesn't. So eventually you can curate your own stuff. And I feel like this is cool because if you do want to start a clothing company in the future, you'll have a good base of what you like to sell. And I've noticed this, you do not need a great idea. You just need great execution. You can have all of the gigantic stores online just have regular stuff. They have Levi's, they have Ralph Lauren. They're not selling the super hype or fancy brands because it's hard to get those in bulk.
Right.
They're just selling bread and butter items. They've got systems, and I think your superpower is, those people that spin plates. The fact that you've able to maintain Poshmark this whole time, that is shocking because, like, I can't. It's like I don't even care about Poshmark. But I should have kept it at that level. Why not? Like once it gets to a certain level, keep that level, add it to your portfolio of things that you do. And I love that. If you can, so now in this next chapter of your life, we can keep Poshmark at $2,000, eBay 8 or more, maybe add $5,000 in YouTube and 10 grand in digital. And now you're a powerhouse.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. I imagine YouTube taking a little, I don't know. I feel like the growth on YouTube is much harder. I don't know. And we've talked about this too. The money that I would probably be making on YouTube is coming from digital products and maybe affiliates and stuff, not necessarily. I mean, right now I'm not making hardly anything. I am monetized, but it's not like
you're not relying. So for example, if you are making content that's all on point, right? So if you're talking about the election, if you're talking about topics that are right on point, this is the same as selling Lululemon and Gucci. It's what everybody's looking for. It's the trendiest stuff, but it's hard to do a lot of that. And it's hard to build a following, right? If you just continue to talk about building a business, that will last forever. It's a slow burn, but you have to rely on your own products to make that really work. And you can fund your own things. Like there's channels with 2,000 subscribers that make 6 figures because they don't even use AdSense. They're just like, this is just an informational tool. If you want to learn more, I coach. And for you in the future, I feel like there's something in there for you that you are smart. You've productized your teaching, right? That means you can scale. But the most common way to do it would be for you to sell one-on-one, help people with their finances and reselling, right? That's just hard to scale.
Well, and it's because that has been on the agenda, and I do technically offer that service. I don't promote it because that's things that I can't do with the kids, right? So I have very limited kid-free time. Am I going to make enough money? Is it worth promoting that aspect to do it and not be able to do any other part of my business? So that's on my radar, maybe when I have more kid-free time. And that's why I kind of went to the courses, because it's being able to teach people without having to do the one-on-one time, right?
Yeah, for me, I capped it at 5 hours a week of that because I was thinking, I learned that from some other people that I've watched. They do that to stay fresh. They talk to 5 people a week, no matter what level they are. They make millions of dollars a year. They still coach 5 people a week to get ideas and brainstorm. And that's since you have that natural teaching. I forgot. They used to say, "Those who can't do it, teach it." That's no longer true.
No. You can't teach it if you don't know how. I don't know where that came from. Yeah, no.
But that's a saying. But yeah.
No, for sure.
But I got you. So before we head out, let people know again where they can get part 2 and where they can find you.
Yeah, so I am Sarah Styles LLC on all platforms: Poshmark, eBay, Etsy, website is Sarah Styles LLC, YouTube, all the places. And me and Chris have a video talking a little bit more in depth about this on my channel as well.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Head over to Sarah's channel and subscribe. And part 2 is a humdinger. Super good. So see you guys.
Yes, thank you so much, Chris.
Bye, guys.